I can trace my very first piece of art back to when I was 3 years old, and for the past 17 years, I never stopped drawing. Now I'm 20, and after years of obsessively practicing, failing, building, and creating art from a place of passion, I've learned some brutal truths about what it takes to do this. Not the romanticized version you see online, the real lessons. So in this video, I'm sharing 10 brutal truths that I've learned that I believe will completely change the way you approach art. We're starting this video off strong with a piece of advice that changed everything for me as a young artist. Progress is earned, not gifted. From the outside, people see the finished piece and call it talent. But what people don't realize, just drop my pen. What people don't realize is how many hours, days, and even years it takes to develop your craft. Failing again and again until something finally clicks. That's how skill is built, not talent. Talent didn't put in the hours, it didn't stay up late, it didn't redraw the same thing 5 times just to get it right. When I was about 8 years old, I drew Pennywise the Clown for the first time. It was far from perfect, but it was the start of something real. A couple years later, I think in 2017, I drew Pennywise again when I was about 12. This time it was a bit better. I just started getting into realism, so the details were definitely, getting there. Like I was working on my craft a bit more. Then just 2 years after that, I drew him again when I was 14. I just got my first set of Copic markers and I had made some real progress. Now just last year at 20 years old, I see the truth. Progress isn't luck. Progress is something you earn through discipline, through showing up when it's hard, through choosing quiet work and growth over comfort. I firmly believe that consistency creates talent. Bob Ross said it best, talent is a pursued interest. Now my next point is about patience and being able to trust the process. There's no shortcut to mastery. The artists you admire spent years in the dark refining their craft before that anyone even noticed. Again, going back to when I was 8 years old, I was really starting to make a lot of drawings in school, many of which were based on horror movie icons that I loved. In particular, I drew Pinhead from Hellraiser. I was drawn to his unique character design and wanted to replicate that. As you can see, I tried my very best to do that with just a lead pencil and the classic, Faber-Castell connector pens. I was so excited at the time with how it turned out, and I really wanted to share it with others. I remember specifically going up to my teacher and trying to show her this new piece. And she was busy at the time. She was on the phone. She'd seen that many drawings and whatever. But she was busy, and so when I went up and showed her, she kind of just panned it off. She was like, oh yeah, very nice, whatever. Looking back at that piece now, I can see how every sketch and every failure mattered. Some of your best growth will come from quietly chipping away at something no one else sees yet. When it feels like your effort doesn't matter, it's often when it does most. You need to learn to love the long game. And that's why I believe delayed gratification is so important. Because when you stop rushing the process or avoiding the necessary time and effort it takes to create, you finally start mastering it. So please remember, you're not behind, you're just in the middle of your story. Now, my next point might be a little bit controversial to some of you artists, but I firmly believe that art block isn't real. I am frankly so sick and fucking tired of artists using art block as an excuse to stop creating. What most people call art block is really fear, perfectionism, or avoidance wearing a mask. It's not that you can't draw, it's that you're scared to make something imperfect. You're afraid of being seen. But creativity needs discipline. You can't always rely on your mood. It's not sustainable. It's not going to work long term. You're not going to get anywhere being so dependent on how you feel all the time. You shouldn't wait for inspiration. You should sit down and summon it. You should make that time, dedicate time for your craft. It's not going to magically improve out of nowhere. It's not just going to get better without any effort. Now, to do that, You need to start taking action. Stop waiting to feel ready. When I was growing up, and even now when I'm creating, my work was and is far from perfect and isn't where I always want it to be. But every piece helped me get to where I am today. I picked up very early that if I continue to take action, continue to create over and over again, continue to fail, I would learn from my mistakes. Whether you act or not, time's going to keep moving. So why not spend it building something you care about? One day you'll look back grateful that you started, even if you didn't feel ready. Perfectionism is more often than not with artists the enemy of momentum. So please just begin, stop waiting, and start creating. All right, my next point is that health is wealth. Your body is a creative engine, and art is more than what you make, it's how you live. Energy, focus, emotional resilience, all of it comes back to how you treat yourself. It's in your habits, your self-talk, your choices, your ability to show up. Your lifestyle is your creative engine as an artist. And if you want better art, I firmly believe if you build a better lifestyle around it, it's going to get better. You know, I've always drawn. I've always been an artist. I've always been creative and always pursued this. But things really, really started to change when I got into the gym when I was about 15, I think. I'll just lift weights at home to start, do the classic core routines in your room and the push-ups and all the rest of it. I have my little circuit that I'll do pretty much on a day-to-day basis. And during that time is when I had my biggest leap in my attention to detail and dedication in my work. And the quality of my work reflected that. My artwork, in combination with getting Copic markers, hitting the gym, building that newfound level of discipline and dedication, really, really improved my art very quickly. I went from just, decent sketches, decent realism to then, I made a big jump, which was exciting. And since then I've noticed if I'm always incorporating the gym or fitness or just taking better care of myself into my routine, the quality of everything I do on this page is better, 100%. Additionally, all of my best ideas have come after a workout. After school, I used to catch the train about 30 minutes into the city all the time, hit the gym, finish the gym, catch the train, about an hour ride train home. Every time I've been on that train since, I've always had the best ideas. I've always come up with the best artworks. Some of your favorite pieces of mine have very likely been born on those train or bus rides home. Anyways, the gym taught me that discipline isn't just physical, it bleeds into every area of my life. I firmly believe if you want to create the best work, take care of the vessel, your body, take care of yourself that creates it. Now that brings me to my next small point, which is that discipline is always better than motivation. As I've mentioned before, motivation comes and goes, discipline stays. Motivation waits to feel like it. Discipline does it anyway. Discipline shows up when you're tired, uninspired, uncertain. It's what separates dreamers from doers. One of my favorite quotes from Michael Smoke, Higher Up Wellness, is, "It isn't easy, but it is simple." And I think that applies really well to this idea. It's not easy to always show up despite your low feelings and low mood. But at the end of the day, it is a simple concept. If you do it, things are going to work out. Things are going to improve. Things are going to get better. Now, I think your integrity as an artist and as a person is built in these small, quiet promises you keep to yourself. If you say you're going to draw, draw. If you commit to a piece, see it through. Half-assing your work chips away at your confidence. Go all in or don't go at all. Respect the craft. Now that brings me to my next point, which is to finish what you've started. You know, there's power in completion. Starting a new piece is always exciting. You've got this cool new idea, you get sketching, things are looking great, whatever. Things are really exciting. It's new, it's fresh. But finishing is where the real transformation happens. You know, that excitement, more often than not, unless it's a very ambitious piece that's passionate to you, that excitement's going to fizzle out. Or it's going to not be as strong as it was at the start. So you need to have that ability to see it through to finish it. You need to teach yourself self-respect by following through, even if it's not perfect. You know, finishing trains your creative muscles to close loops, not just open them. It turns your ideas into something real, and that builds trust with yourself. I don't think you can make it as an artist. You can't make good work if you don't have trust in your abilities, if you can't trust the process. Now, moving on to my final 2 points now, which are a bit more serious, I guess. My first being that tomorrow isn't promised to anyone. Too many ideas die in some day. And the truth is, you don't know how much time you have left. You could realistically die tomorrow, in a week, in a year's time. And you're not living like that. You're not living like you will die. You're never too young to take your dreams seriously. And you don't have to wait to be validated to do what you love. The moment you start treating your art and your passions and the things that truly align with you with some level of respect and follow through, others will too. You got to make the art. You got to start the project, say what you've been holding in. Life is uncertain, but your ability to create something meaningful, have some form of true impact on others, and have a fulfilling life is a gift. Don't waste that gift. Now, this brings me to my very final point, which is, you know, you've probably heard me say it a lot if you follow me on Instagram. It's pretty cliche and whatever, probably overused now, but I don't care. It aligns truly with my overall message for you guys, which is to face your fears, because fear kills dreams. You know, fear, I believe, is the root cause of everything that people come to regret in their life, and is definitely the root cause of wasted potential. Fear tells you all kinds of lies, that you're not good enough, that this won't matter. You know, what if they judge me? What if this? What if that? But you'll never grow if you wait to be fearless. Your dreams require you to walk through discomfort again and again. Now, that means fear doesn't mean to stop. It means you're onto something real. I don't think many artists are failing because of a lack of talent. I think they're failing because they haven't developed that mindset, or they're soft and they're unwilling to face what's ahead. You know, you won't commit. You quit when it hurts, and you'd rather chase quick dopamine and instant gratification than build something that's real and lasting. Fear is why most artists stay stuck, because they refuse to outwork their own comfort. Now, if you're done letting fear run your life, you're wanting to change, you're willing to put in the work, and you want to conquer the lies that are holding you back, be sure to subscribe. And if you're wanting to hear more from me on a more personal level, be sure to subscribe to my email list in the description. Thank you for watching. I hope this video helped.